Well, today I'm going to show you how to take a simple object from the dollar store, a little bit of scrapbook paper, some paint and Mod Podge, and make this beautiful serving tray so the dolls can serve some snacks or dinner. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy this project is. I decided to do something different for our doll video this week. We are going to do a makeover on this little tray that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. Mind you, I'm probably going to do some Dollar Tree different projects on the channel because a new Dollar Tree just opened up and it's literally a 2-minute walk from my apartment to Dollar Tree. So I'm spending a lot of time in Dollar Tree the last week or so since they've been open. So I thought this would be perfect. So they have two different trays. They have this one with the oval handle, and they have another one that has a heart-shaped opening here for the handle. I decided to go with the oval because I thought it was a little more versatile. Now this would be like a big tray like you might use to serve like maybe a charcuterie board or to serve a bunch of, drinks or whatever, because it measures, let's see the right way, the outside measurement is about 6.5 by about 5. So that's a fairly large, that translates to a fairly large tray. But I thought it was really neat. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play with, and we can put some of our doll foods on here and have some really neat pictures, and I think it would be a really fun project. So I'm going to do I want to put like what looks like tile in the bottom of it. I decided to do that with some cardstock. So I went through my cardstock stash and I found this piece of printed cardstock that's, now some of these are kind of glittery and they're really cool in person. I'm not sure if yeah, you can see it on there. It's kind of shiny. But I'm going to cut this into strips. Ignore the brown paint under my fingernails. I just was done painting something and I got brown. And then I picked out these 3 colors of solid colored cardstock, which are pretty good matches for the colors that are in here. So I am going to prep this for use, I'm going to go cut strips. I'm going to cut 1/2-inch strips from each piece of paper. And then when I come back, we will start weaving something that will look like tiles at the bottom of our tray. So I'll meet you back here when I have that cut. All right, so I cut a bunch of half-inch strips of the paper, and I've cut way more than I need. And in fact, I am going to weave more than I need because I want to be able to make sure I have plenty and that I can center this the way I want it to be centered. So I've laid some masking tape, taped it down on both ends. It's sticky side up, and it is slightly larger than my tray. And what I'm going to do is I am going to lay these out next to each other. I'm going to start with them fairly close together. I know that I'll leave a small gap, but not much. And as I work, it will get tightened up and it will be fine. So I'm going to lay a bunch of these out this way. And we're not going to see all of each one, so it'll be fine if they're, it won't matter how the design lines up. And I don't really want it to be a continuous line. I want it to look like I have randomly put tiles in. That's kind of the look I'm going for. Because what we'll do is we'll weave it, make more than enough for the bottom, and then I will seal it together with some Mod Podge. I'll slip a piece of parchment paper under here and brush Mod Podge over it to kind of glue it all together, and then cut a piece to size for the bottom of the tray. And I may have to adjust these a little bit before I think that's probably plenty. All right, so I'm not going to make you watch everything, but I'm going to start it. First piece down. I'm going to try to go green, yellow, or green, blue, yellow, all the way. Oops, and now we go into the opposites. And you don't have to do this standard weave. You could do a different weave if you want to. You could get fancy. You could do a design. Get that fairly close. I'll do just a couple more, and then I am going to, when I'm talking, I can never get this right. All right, I am going to turn the camera off. I'm going to go actually turn on a video on YouTube and watch a video and weave this together, and I will be back when I have it finished. All right, I have this all woven together, and it's bigger than the base of our tray. And I've got some satin Mod Podge. And this, what I'm hoping for is this will kind of make this a single unit. Oh, and I've put parchment paper under it. I'm going to put a good coat of satin Mod Podge, especially concentrating around where each of these comes together. Once this has dried off camera, I will pull it off the tape, I'll flip it over, and I'll put another coat on the back side. Now, like I said, I'm hoping this will kind of help this to stay together when I cut it. So I'm going to finish this up. I will probably also tuck some under the end pieces, even though that's probably not where I'm going to be cutting. And when this is dry and I have the backside dry, actually I won't even have to finish that. When I have time to turn the camera back on, I will come back and we'll start working on the wooden tray. So I'll see you then. All right, now before we can paint this, I'm going to paint this with probably a white craft paint. But I want to go over, I won't make you watch me do the whole thing. I'm going to sand all the edges, especially inside of that handle. It's very rough. It's very rough on the edges. The flats I think will be fine, but the edges need to be sanded. I need to sand here on the ends. And when I have it all sanded and ready to go, I will come back. Oh, and after you sand it, be sure to wipe it down with a paper towel or something to pick up any excess dust that's remaining on the piece. So I'll be back in a minute. All right, it is all sanded off and it is wiped down. I didn't do a perfect job, but it'll be fine. Now I am going to paint the entire outside, and I will need to do 2 coats, at least 2 coats of the white paint. Once I have all of this painted with at least 2 coats and it has a nice white finish to it, I will come back and we will add our tile to the bottom of the tray. So I'll see you then. All right, this is painted and the paint is all dry, and I also have this all done. It's got Mod Podge on both sides, so it's ready to put in. I'm going to show you how to make a pattern, and I'm making a pattern for the bottom of this. This is a rectangular piece. I could measure it, but I wanted to show you this method of making a pattern, and you can do this with things that are not like a rectangular shape. You have something that's odd shape too. I have some pieces of printer paper. They're cut smaller than what I need, and I know that I've got a good sharp corner on that corner of the paper. I'm going to shove this into the corner. Then I'm going to take another piece and shove it into, and I just put a piece of tape there just to hold it still. Now, this piece, I want it right against that edge and right against this edge. This is a lot more useful, actually, you know, obviously on something that's not a strict rectangle, if you have something that's kind of odd shaped. But this is here, and I thought of it, and I thought I would show you how to do this. It's here. And then the last piece. And I am using the paper's original corners as much as I can for the corners. Push it right to the edges. And then this one will want a few more pieces of tape. Now, out, I know that this is exactly the size of the bottom. So I don't have to wonder if I've measured it right, if it's going to be cut, you know, if I've got the corners right, if I've got it the exact shape I want it. Now I'm going to take this. I'm actually going to fold this in half because I want to see where these are going to be in relationship to the center. That way I can kind of see where the middle of it is. And it looks like I am going to be not exactly at the edges. That's okay. I'll have a little extra. Like there'll be a little strip of this blue into the end. If they don't stay, that's fine. We can always add a, border around it. All right, that looks like a good spot. Oops, and then I moved it. Since this is Mod Podge, I'm comfortable gluing or taping this down to the woven part. I think it'll be fine. And now I can use this as a pattern. I'm going to put a little bit of tape on each side also. That way it's held down. Then I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to go get this cut out. I'm going to make sure off camera I've got it exactly where I want it. Then I'm going to cut this to this size. And when I have that done, I'll come back and I'll show you the next step. All right, I have this trimmed to size. I'm not going to set it down in there again because it is cut so close to the right size that I have to use my tweezers to pull it back out. I did have to trim one side and one end, but I'm happy with how it fits. Now I'm going to put some satin Mod Podge in the bottom. Now you could use glue. I just want to cover the whole surface. So I'm going to get this a pretty thick coat of Mod Podge on the bottom because I want it to help to hold it down. Okay, get it off. It's okay if it's not smooth. And there might be some come up through. Anything that pops up through, just brush it over. And do come back while it's drying to make sure it is staying stuck to the bottom. Once this is stuck all the way down, we'll come back, we'll do a little bit of decorative painting on the tray itself, and then I'm going to put another coat of Mod Podge over that. So I'll be back when this dries. All right, my Mod Podge is fairly dry, so I want to kind of put a gold rim inside of there. I've got some gold paint. I happen to have Folk Arts brushed metal in gold. This is a really pretty gold. You could use a paint pen. It might actually work better, but I don't have a gold paint pen. I'm going to try and do this so you guys can really see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to go around just the inside of this. I'm using kind of a nice rounded brush. Whoops, I don't want it. I might have to bring some white paint out and touch up a little bit. Now, I'll have to touch that white up there when this dries, and I'll do that off camera. But I'm going to do the other end, and then this paint will need to dry all the way because we don't want it to smear. And when that's done, we'll come back and put a clear finish on this, and we'll see how this looks with some of the doll stuff on it. All right, my paint is completely dry. And I purposely let a little bit come out of the hole, but not as much as I had on that one spot. Now, the final step is simply a coat of satin Mod Podge over all of the surfaces, and then once that's dry, we can look at the finished tray. So I'm going to go ahead and and now I'm going to cheat here. This is how I like to do. I'm going to have something like this, pour it in there, because I know I'm going to need quite a bit, and I can even bring it out on my brush to the outside if I have enough in there. But this way, I'm not continually dipping into my jar. Be sure and take your brush around those handholds that we painted gold. Now, of course, you can use, you probably won't have the same cardstocks that I did. That cardstock I used is from a collection of cardstock that I bought, oh my gosh, probably 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. But I just thought it would look really cool in this. But use what you've got. Pick colors that you want. You could edge the edges, both of the handholds where I did, and even the tray itself could have been edged with a paint. Use the colors that go with the paper you've got. So I'm going to get this completely covered on the tops and the sides, and then I'm going to let it dry completely. When it has completely dried, I will come back and we will look at the finished tray, and I'll show you how you can put some stuff, how stuff fits on it, because it's a nice big serving tray. So I'll be back when it dries. All right, this has had overnight to dry, and I love how it looks. And I pulled out some of the things we've made over the years on the channel. So I thought the dolls might like to serve some fruit and hot cocoa for a snack. I love how this little tray came out. It was super easy, super fun to do. You could do any color combination. Just see what kind of scrapbook paper that you can find, and it can be any weight of cardstock. You could even print paper to do this, as long as you have ink that won't run. But this was so much fun. You could use all solid colors. You could do a fancy weaving where you have more of a design in your weaving. I just love this. It's a really versatile little piece, and I think the dolls will love it. It's a great accompaniment to some of the foods we've made. So be sure and check the blog post. I'll have photos over there, and I'll explain anything in more detail that I figure I need to as I go through the video when I go to edit. So check the blog post. If you enjoyed the video, be sure and hit the like button. Leave me a comment. What kinds of things would you like to see? I'm always adding to my list, and then I pull from my list when I get ready to make videos. Right now we're kind of working on a snack theme, but we're going to go on to more summer barbecue type foods and picnic foods here pretty soon when the weather clears up. So get your thinking caps on. Let me know what you want to see. If you enjoy my content and you haven't subscribed, I encourage you, hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. Thank you very, very much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.